right, we are here on the Harris roof. We have got our suggested shingle here, which is the OC Supreme 3-tab teak. We've got one of our clearly wind crease covered shingles. It's pretty obvious straight away just from looking at this roof, it can't be repaired. I mean, you've got this shingle right here that doesn't even have 50% of its granules. It's just all matte, basically. You know, there's really honestly creasing throughout this entire roof. The shingles are incredibly paper thin and brittle, so instead of them being nice and malleable like a noodle, like our new shingle, it's real rubbery. You can brush this all day long 1,000 times. None of these granules are coming out, and that's what we want to see for repairability, that pliability, which is its ability to be bent without breaking. But for the sake of diligence, we're going to go ahead and start unsealing all of the shingles. We're going to need to manipulate to get to our 2 nail lines here. We'll go a little further to make sure we give the shingles plenty of room. And most of these aren't even really sealing. The roof system as a whole is failing. That's obvious just from, you know, looking at how bad this granule loss is. And even as we're separating the shingles, you can see, you know, you can tap the roof and these granules they're just raining down like a waterfall. All right, we've got our shingles separated. We're gonna spread our fingers out. We're not gonna use our thumb because that's how we end up tearing the end here. We're gonna spread our fingers out to hold the tabs up very, very low while we look for those nails. And if this roof is in code, there will be 4 per line, end, groove, groove, end. That is what the manufacturer installation guidelines suggest. 2. This one's pretty far up. That's about halfway up the shingle. It looks like there may be a nail even further up in there. We'll check at the end. We don't want to do more manipulation than necessary. So that's 4 out of the bottom row. One. So this is a shingle and this is a shingle, so you've got 1 nail in the end, another in the end here. And then just like we were speaking about, since this is a shingle, you're gonna have 1 in the groove and 1 in the groove, and that should be the last of our 8 total nails in the shingle we're swapping out. All right, we should be able to shimmy the shingle out now. And you can see we took care, we didn't tear any of these nail holes. We didn't rip the shingle out. We made sure the nails all came out and no further damage was caused to the shingle. Although again, you can see just from tapping the roof, you're just getting granules raining down. And again, on shingles with their pliability and their moisture, doesn't matter how many times you manipulate this, you're not gonna have any damage at all. And again, that's what you want to see. Looks like somebody was here 100 years ago with some kind of chalk. Well, let's check for layers. So I do see felt. So this is a 1-layer roof. You can see the felt under there with the cap nails. We're gonna go ahead and take our OC 3-tab teak. And got it right in there. We do have a slight color disparity. That's gonna happen. The age of this roof is probably over 15 years. I mean, I don't have an age gauge, but there's just no granules on here. You can see the comparison. This has over double, it's probably triple the amount of granules. So it's much darker, and the rest of the roof is much lighter, so there is a color disparity. We're gonna go ahead and keep going. And there's a lot of confusion and conversation on this portion of the repair. Again, on these new shingles, it doesn't matter how much you manipulate them. They are not going to crease, crack, break, or tear, right? That is a shingle that can be repaired. That is the reason that we are here today, to show that these shingles cannot be lifted high enough without being damaged. Manufacturer installation guidelines specify that the shingle must be lifted high enough to drive the nail flush. into the roof. The nails was holding the shingle in from being blown away or falling out of the roof. It can't go in sideways. It can't go in at an angle. It has to go flush into the roof. So I can't lift the shingle an inch and then blast the edge of the shingle and go in here sideways, right? If the shingle can be repaired, we will be able to lift it high enough to where the nail can go in the roof correctly. Shouldn't be that big of an argument. So just like manufacturer guidelines specify, this is a shingle. So we're gonna go one groove, end to end for 4 in the top row. And you can see as I lift the shingle, it does not have a smooth curve. Because it's so crispy and brittle, it is already starting to tear here on the end, and you can see creasing through. We're gonna continue on for diligence here. Same thing here, we're using our tool to get proper leverage. We are only lifting and always lifting the tab just high enough to drive that nail perfectly flush, because the nail is what is holding the shingle in. We want our repair to outlive the rest of the roof. The repair should last longer. It's newer. So groove, end to end. And you can already see again, we're getting tearing here on the corner, lots of creases. Every time the hammer is swung, you can see granules flying off of the roof. Top row is in. Moving on to the bottom row. We're going to put one right here on the end. Again, you can see, bring the camera over here. I don't even have to touch it. You can see the creasing here, right? And as I'm banging on the roof, I'll use my fist on the new shingle so we're not damaging the old stuff. You can see those granules coming right off. They're just falling off. No resistance, no adhesion, no pliability. Moving on to the next. We've done end, now we're going groove. Same thing here with tearing on the corner and creasing through the center. Same thing again. All these corners here, they love to tear and crease right down the side there. It is unavoidable on these older roofs. So we've got end, groove. We're going to go end for our last shingle, last nail, sorry. All right, so you can see now that we're done, we have got creasing here with a little bit of tearing, creasing as well through the middle with some tearing up here in the corner, real bad creasing, especially this shingle here. I mean, that's going to disappear. Got creasing here on the corner, and again here through the middle. We have the color disparity, and then, you know, the pictures, they're pretty obvious, but it's really apparent in the video how shiny this roof is. You can see fiberglass everywhere, brittleness, no pliability. It is my professional opinion that this repair attempt has failed. It will not outlast the rest of the roof. It will be damaged first because of the failure, and this roof cannot be repaired. It must be replaced as a whole. Thank you so much.